Good day, everyone. Our report is all about evaluating and controlling technology. First topic is all about evaluating information. Evaluating and controlling technology questions that we will discuss in this chapter. Does the openness and democracy of the web increase distribution of useful information or inaccurate, foolish, and biased information? How does access to digital technology differ among different populations? Is computing technology evil? Why do some people think it is? How should we control technology to ensure positive uses and consequences? How soon will robots be more intelligent than people? What will happen after that? Evaluating information, the need for responsible judgment. There is a daunting amount of information on the web and much of it is wrong. So, may ideal limitation paggamit, pero ang Wikipedia ang gagamit na response site ha internet. By volunteers, some posts are biased and not accurate. So, ang Wikipedia ay isang di pangkalakal na proyekto at ang ibig sabihin ito ay walang bayad ang paggamit ito at walang mga advertisement. So, Wikipedia's managers develop procedures and policies to reduce the likelihood of inaccurate data. So, ang Wikipedia ay isang popular na online encyclopedia na maaaring edit na kahit ano at ito ay kapaki-pakinabang na isang tool. Wisdom of the world. Ang konsepto ng wisdom of the world ay magsasabi na ang collective judgment ng maraming tao ay maaaring maging mas tama kaysa sa isang individual na eksperto. Halimbawa ng mga platforms tulad ng Stack Overflow at Quora. Narrowing the information stream. So, nowadays naman, maramankit nga damoy na nakakalat ng mga maling informasyon sa internet. So, dapat kailangan natin maging maingat at pwede natin malaman kung ano na website nga nakakapekto ito. Abdicating responsibility. Ang tula ni Gerola H. Zorn ng isang halimbawa nito. Sa tula niya ang kung paano maaaring makaligtaan ng isang tao ang mga pagkakamali sa kanilang sulat dahil sa pagtitiwala sa isang spelling o checker. Evaluating models. Ginagamit ng mga engineer ang mga computer model upang gayahin ang iba't ibang sistema. Evaluating models. How well do the modelers understand the underlying science or theory? How accurate and complete are the data? Models necessarily involve assumptions and implications of reality. For example, the model of the plane flight does not include the wind, bird's brain. How closely to the results our predictions correspond with the results from physical experiment of real experience. If the United States adopted a national health system, the prediction varied by 100 of billions of dollars. Computer models. Models may not be accurate. We might not have complete knowledge of the system we are modeling. The data describing current condition or characteristic may be incomplete or inaccurate. Computing power may be inadequate for the complexity of the model. It is difficult, if not impossible, to numerically quantify variables that represent human values and choices. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers uses mathematical models to predict how long an artificially constructed or replenished beach will last before waves wash it away. Modeling car crashes. Car crash analysis program use a technique called the finite element method. So, ang car crashes ko, kung ang kotse ko, pwede mo pa mabalyuan mga iba na materyales or madakmol nga baka like that. Okay.
Evaluating information, computer models, example modeling climate. The global temperature increase raised concern about the threat of excess global warming, possibly caused by human-induced increase of CO2 and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The Earth temperature is getting warmer, which worries scientists. This might be caused by people adding too much carbon dioxide and other gases into the air. These gases trap heat, making the planet hotter. Climate models, like the car crash analysis models, calculate relevant variables for grid points, specified simulated time intervals. Climate models are like video games for studying the weather. They split the Earth into tiny squares and figure out what happened in each square over time. The models contain information about the sun's energy output, the orbit, inclination, and rotation of the Earth, geography, a map of land masses, topography, mountains, and etc., clouds, sea and polar ice, soil and air moisture, and a large number of other factors. Equations simulate atmospheric pressure, temperature, wind, speed and direction, moisture, precipitation, ocean currents, and so forth. Clouds represent a significant source of potential error in a climate simulation. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, established in 1988, is a scientific and intergovernmental body under the auspices of the United Nations, set up at the request of member governments, dedicated to the task of providing the world with an objective, scientific view of climate change and its political and economic impact. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change was started in 1988, the United Nations. It brings together scientists and governments to study climate change and explain how it affects the world, including politics and economy. The IPCC produces reports that support the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is the main international treaty on climate change. The IPCC has concluded that it's extremely likely that human activity has a substantial warming effect on climate. The IPCC writes reports to help with a global climate change agreement called the UNFCCC. The IPCC say it is almost certain that human actions are making the earth warmer. The IPCC acknowledged that the underlying complexity of the problem still hampers the accuracy of projections for future climate change. Even the extremely powerful computers of today are not sufficient to achieve an ideal level of resolution, grid size, and to include simulation of more processes that affect climate. The digital divide, trends in computer access, new technologies only available to the wealthy. The term digital refers to the fact that some groups of people, the have, enjoy access to the regularly used various forms of modern information technology, while others, the have not, do not. Poor children and children of some ethnic minorities and less access to computers both in schools and at home. In the early 1990s, only about 10% of net users were women. The time it takes for new technology to make its way into a common use is decreasing. Cost is not the only factor. Ease of use plays a role. Entrepreneurs provide low-cost options for people who cannot otherwise afford something. Government funds technology in schools. As technology becomes more prevalent, the issues shift from the have and have-nots to level of service. In 1990, 22% of households in the United States own a computer. In 2001, 84% of homes with children in a middle and high school had internet access. By 2000, 98% of high school had internet access. Access to broadband connection is a newer version of a digital divide. Without broadband access, it is more difficult to find employment opportunities. According to Connected Nation, in 2011, only 46% of low-income households with children and 37% of low-income minority household with children had broadband at home, compared to 66% of households nationally. The global divide and the next billion users. Approximately 2 billion people worldwide have access to a web, a five-fold increase over roughly a decade. That means that approximately 5 billion do not use the internet. Non-profit organizations and huge computer companies are spreading computer access to people in developing countries. Bringing new technology to poor countries is not just a matter of money to buy equipment. PC and laptops must work in extreme environments. One laptop per child is a non-profit organization that supplies an expensive laptop computer especially designed for elementary school children in developing countries. The laptop works in extreme heat or cold, extreme of humidity and dusty or rainy environments. The power requirements are very low. Some people actively working to shrink and digital divide emphasize the need to provide access in ways appropriate to the local culture. Neo-Luddite views of computers, technology, and quality of life. Criticisms of computer technology. Neo-Luddism or New Luddism is a philosophy opposing or skeptical to many forms of modern technology. Neo-Luddism is a movement of non-affiliated groups who resist modern technologies and dictate a return of some or all technologies to a more primitive level. Computer caused massive unemployment and de-skilling of jobs. Computer caused social inequity. Computer caused social disintegration. They weakened communities and families and led to isolation of people from each other. Computers manufacturers needs. We use them because they are there, not because they satisfy real needs. Quite apart from the environmental and medical evils associated with them being produced and used, there are two moral judgments against computer. One is that computerization enables the large forces of our civilization to operate more swiftly and efficiently in their pernicious goals of making money and producing things. And secondly, in the course of using this, these forces are destroying nature with more speed and efficiency than ever before. Luddites in England in 1811, 1812, people burned factories and mills in efforts to stop the technologies and social changes that were eliminating their jobs. They were weavers who had worked at home on small machines. It was it was the most dramatic symbol of opposition to the Industrial Revolution. Critics of technology have adopted it as an honorable term. Computers separate humans from nature and destroy the environment. Computers benefit big business and big government the most. Use of computer in school towards development of social skills, human values and intellectual skills in children. Computers do little or nothing to solve real problems. Neil Postman, his response to claims of the benefit of access to information, argues that if families break up, children are mistreated, crime terrorized the city, education is impotent, it does not happen because of inadequate information. The condition in computer factories hardly compare to conditions in the sweatshops factories of the early industrial revolution. A computer in the classroom does not replace good parents in the home, but this should not be a criticism of computers. Views of economics, nature, and human needs. What is the purpose of technology? To Luddites, it is to eliminate jobs to reduce cost of production. To non-Luddites, it is to reduce effort needed to produce goods and services. Modern transportation and communication reduce the price of products and increase their variety and availability. For example, we can eat fresh fruits and vegetables all year. While both statements say nearly the same thing, the first suggests massive unemployment, profit for capitalists, and the poorer life for most workers. The second suggests improvements in wealth and standard of living. For me, the purpose of technology is to solve problems, improve efficiency, and enhance human life.
Views of economics, natures, and human needs. As we conduct more economic transactions electronically, we lose more local stores, local professional and social services, and convivial public spaces like the towns of small towns. The fact that consumers wanted a particular service, store, or product is irrelevant if not enough people are willing to pay the prices that make business viable. The town residents are not willing to pay what it costs to keep the downtown's store in business. Involuntary information no concern wanted or intended the outcomes. Does the technology create a need for itself? A common criticism of capitalism is that it survives by convincing us to buy products we do not need. Luditz argues similarly that technology causes productions of things we do not need. Do we need the homework in the backyard or listen to music on an iPad? Needs are relative. Patients may need a cell phone to contact the emergency services in an emergency. Nature and human lifestyles. Luditz argued that technology has made no important improvements in life. Whether a computing device is good by a human-centered standards depends on whether it meets our needs, how will it does so at what cost, and how will it compare so to alternatives. Computing is not the first technology that people disagreed with. Do we need electricity? Do we need automobiles? Do we need hot water on top, movies and symphony orchestras? Or do we need nothing more than food and shelter? Accomplishment of technology increased life expectancy worldwide increased from 30 years in 1900 to 64 in 2006. In US increased from 47.3 in 1900 to 77.9 in 2007. Eliminations or reductions of many diseases, increased standard of living, assistive technologies for those with disabilities. Environmental impacts on computing technology. A large insurance company reduced its use of paper by 100 million pages in a 9-month period by storing its manuals digitally instead of printing them. We use email and texting instead of sending letters and cards on paper. Between 2001 and 2011, annual consumption of newsprint for a daily newspaper in the United States dropped by an estimated 61%, and the number of pieces of first-class mail drops by about 24%. Discussed questions. To what extent are neo-Luddite criticism valid? Can a society choose to have a certain specific desirable modern inventions while preventing undesirable ones? Each new technology finds new and unexpected uses. Some are bad uses. How finally can we make decisions about acceptable and unacceptable technologies? Telemedicine, a bad application of technology? Safety problems with such systems. Telemedicine might make medical care even more impersonal than it's already. Large hospitals might become the Walmarts of medicines. The difficulty of predictions. The history of technology is full of wildly wrong predictions, some overly optimistic, some overly pessimistic. PC was originally a tool for doing computations and writing documents. No one but a few visionaries imaged most of their current uses. World Wide Web was invented by PCists. They could not have predicted social networking, online auctions, or movie streaming. The difficulty of production, historical quotes. I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas J. Watson, chairman of IBM, 1943. Computers in the future may only weigh 1.5 tons. Popular Mechanics 1949. There is no reason for any individual to have a computer in their home. Ken Olsen, President of Digital Equipment Corporation 1977. The US will have 220,000 computers by the year 2000. Official forecast by RCA Corporation 1966. The actual number was close to 100 million. Joseph Weizenbaum, MIT, argued against developing speech recognition technology, mistaken expectation of costs and benefits. The problem is so enormous that only the largest possible computers will ever able to manage it. Speech recognition softwares run our smartphones now. A speech recognition machine is bound to be enormously expensive. Only governments and possibly a very few very large corporations will therefore be able to afford it. Millions of people own smartphones and other devices that include speech recognitions. What can it possibly be used for? We should decline the technology because of potential abuse and ignore the benefits. New technologies are often expensive, but costs drop as technology advances and the demand increases. Intelligent machine and superintelligent humans or the end of the human race. The term technological singularity refers to the point at which artificial intelligence or some combined human-machine intelligence advances so far that we cannot comprehend what lies on the other side. Some technologists spoke of the idea of the human race transforming into an unrecognizable race of super-intelligent, genetically engineered creatures within this century. Others find it horrifying and others unlikely. Computing power of new microprocessors doubles roughly every 18 to 24 months. If the progress of hardware power continues at this rate, then by roughly 2030 computer hardware will be about as powerful as a human brain. We cannot prepare for aftermath, but prepare for more gradual develops. Limit the scope of decision about the development of new technology. Decentralize the decision-making process to reduce the impact of mistakes. Avoid manipulation by entrenched companies who fear competitions and prevent violations of liberty.